I'm sharing this story with full permission from my client. Names and some details have been changed to protect privacy. He's 39 years old. Let's call him Dmitry. When Dmitry first walked into my office, he barely looked at me. He didn't cry. He didn't complain. He just sat down, fidgeting slightly, staring at the floor, and after a long pause he said, "I'm ashamed, but I've been living someone else's life." He gave a small, almost apologetic smile, like even saying it was a mistake, like he shouldn't even be allowed to say it out loud. "I've always done everything right," he said. "I was a good son, a good student, a good husband, a good employee, but something inside me has been dead for a long time." He paused, tapping his fingers nervously against the arm of the chair, then quietly added, "I just learned to live in a way that doesn't make anyone uncomfortable, even if it's unbearable for me." Dmitry grew up in a household where love had to be earned, not with words but with results. His father often said, "First comes stability, then come your dreams." His mother was softer, but the message was the same. Don't rock the boat. Live like everyone else. At 16, Dmitry realized he wanted something else. He stayed up late painting in his bedroom, sketchbooks hidden under the bed. And one day, he finally mustered the courage to say, "I don't want to follow this path." His father didn't even raise his voice. He just looked at him and said, "That's not serious." In that moment, Dmitry says something inside him just shut down. He thought, "Okay, then I'll be what's expected." Years passed. College, job, career, marriage. Everyone around him said, "You're lucky. You have the perfect life." But every morning he woke up feeling like he was putting on someone else's coat, like he was living in a body that wasn't his. One evening, his wife asked over dinner, "Are you happy?" He answered automatically, "Of course." But inside, a small voice whispered, "You lied again." He had a younger brother, Jason. Jason constantly changed jobs, moved cities, broke up and started over. His parents sighed, "That kid's reckless." And Dmitry, watching him, felt a strange envy. Not for freedom exactly, for the feeling of being alive. One day Jason said, "Do you know your problem? You keep letting everyone else live your life instead of you." Those words hit harder than any fight. At a family gathering, their mother hugged Dmitry and said, "I'm so proud of you. You've always been the responsible one." And in that moment he says he wanted to run outside and scream, because he suddenly realized that's what broke him. That night he stood in the bathroom, staring at himself in the mirror. And for the first time he thought, "I don't even know who I am." He hadn't cheated on anyone. But in his words, he had betrayed himself every single day. When he stayed silent. When he agreed even though he didn't want to. When he chose should instead of want. In our sessions he often said, "I'm afraid to start living. Because if I admit this isn't my life, then it means I've wasted 39 years. We didn't take drastic actions. We didn't break his life apart. We just started with one question. What do you feel, not what's expected of you?" A few months later he came and changed. Sat down, took a deep breath and said, "I realized something scary. I thought I was afraid of losing my family, my job, my respect. But really, I was afraid of losing the image of being good." He started telling the truth in small ways. Saying no when he didn't want to. Sitting in silence when he would have smiled before. His wife noticed and said one day, "You've changed. You feel real." And he said honestly, for the first time in his life, "I'm just not running from myself anymore." He didn't become a different person overnight. His life didn't magically turn into a fairy tale. But he said something I'll never forget. "For the first time, I'm not ashamed that I'm alive." And if you're listening to this and feeling a tightness in your chest, If you've ever felt like a guest in your own life, maybe you're too a good person, and that's exactly why it's been so hard. This is only the first story. There are many more confessions to come. Stories people usually keep silent about. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next ones. And if this story resonated with you, leave a comment. I've felt that too. Sometimes the first step toward yourself is simply admitting, I no longer want to live someone else's life.